What a play after play after play.
And he's got a lot of room to run, and she is taking over.
Groans. That's just the greatest conference in the country is showing out tonight, gentlemen. I cannot believe it. That is the greatest high school football game.
Thank you so much for being with us on Tuesday night. You know what that means. This is the WCAC Spectacular, where, on behalf of First Amendment Sports, we like to bring you the greatest high school conference in the land and everything it has to do with. On my left is Kevin Ricca.
It's nice to be back in the mix, Ken. Our kids have had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at them, and the commissioner's on tonight to tell us what defense we're going to play this fall against the kitchen sink.
Against the kid. Well, T, any
it's good to have you back, Kev.
Hey, thanks, man.
The screen's a lot wider now, and we're back to almost
taking
almost
shots.
Back to normal ourselves.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It's tough out here.
We said that we were gonna dangle that carrot in the form of a Lido pizza box, and we knew what would happen. Even though he's the only one on set not eating pizza.
It's on my end.
It is on your end. It is on your end. It is delicious. It is what we're doing tonight. We're so thankful for our friends at Lido's for helping us bring you this show on a weekly basis. I tell you what, I'm gonna get lost staring into that pepperoni. I'm just gonna block it out for a second here, Kevin. You gonna be okay?
No, I had Lido's last night, and I'm not sure how to go back to back, but I know I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. There it is. But first, get started with a little segment we call Around the League, where we practice the best sportsmanship. Congratulations to Bishop O'Connell students, recipients of the Better Sports Club of Arlington Sportsmanship Award. Marty Casserly, Luke Snyder, Riley McGraw, Lily Neubauer, Madison Gale. My hat's off to all of you and so many other athletes in the WCAC who set such a fine example on the field of play. Staying in Arlington, your Virginia State softball championship team, O'Connell Knights. By the way, it's their 25th state title.
25?
Slightly dominant. How about sharing the love? Let someone else have a chance. Just amazing. Over in Hyattsville, Maryland, the Thunder and Herd adding quite an athlete. Shane Simmons, Pride of DeMatha, on his way to Marshall. Keep that gridiron dream alive. Good luck. Best to you, Shane.
Really high rated coming out of DeMatha. Goes up to Penn State, has a foot injury, doesn't ever really get back. Graduates, everybody loves him. He's getting a second chance. He made a last-minute decision, but he's going to give it one more shot as a graduate transfer. All the best to you, Shane.
Marshall's getting a good one. Speaking of, down in Washington, D.C., Jam for all seasons. Hansberry Dram, class of 23, named the junior NBA quarter leaders. We know the cadets and our good friend Pat Bean are extremely excited to get back to work. Will we all get a chance to see the growth of this young man? Amani's game going to be on point next season.
Look at him getting jacked there on the right.
He is a young man for sure. Room. That is certain.
That jam's been in the basement, ready to be open, brother.
That is a fine preserve. Staying at St. John's, just another piece of hardware for AZ Fudd. The St. John's cadet star gets another exclamation mark in her career and that resume with Jordan Brand. All-American honors. Guys, it's going to be appointment television next year when her and Paige Beckers take the floor together for Gino Ariema's Huskies. Get your popcorn ready.
Gino extended again.
Yep, that's absolutely true. And how about what our conference is all about? The students from Archbishop Carroll participating in a conference with none other than Pope Francis himself, just helping the leader of the Catholic Church launch a D.C. chapter of Scholas Occurrentis. It's a group that seeks to bring youth together for education that generates meaning. I couldn't describe our conference any better, and the good folks at Carroll are fine ambassadors for that in all endeavors.
And even the Pope knows about the league.
If you're going to do a conference call with kids, you're going to the WCAC.
Yeah, the Pope's like,
I sent you-
what are we best at? Athletics, right
Bring
here
it
in the nation's
on.
capital, in the most powerful city in the world. We got the best collection of kids doing it on and off the field.
Shout out to Harewood. Can't wait to see the Solo Cup slogan that I'm sure came out of that conference call. It'll be on that fence this fall. We want to thank our friends at Lido Pizza. Lido Pizza is square because they don't cut corners. And we're trying to decide, are they –
corner piece right here.
There's a corner piece, but are they slices or pieces?
I don't know, but if you fold them up and stop talking, they go down a lot faster, from what I understand.
That's true. They are very
my little
He gets
Lucy,
it.
that's just so tasty.
We're going to have to turn your mic off.
Was that that was harsh?
No,
Kevin-
his
Oh, yeah.
mic. That's harsh.
Kevin loves the sound.
Oh, gosh. I forgot
now-
about it for a second.
On the Lido Pizza Hotline, a man who has been, for as far as we know, on a nothing but Lido's diet for the entire pandemic. And wait until you see the results. It's amazing. We're not going to do the before and after. We're not that kind of show. We're only giving you the after. Please welcome the commissioner of the WCAC, Steve Colantuoni. Welcome, sir.
Hey, how we doing, guys? Lido's looks good for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You cut calories because a slice is X amount of calories, but those are real small slices.
They're
You know,
little
you-
pieces.
Those that's not having two regular pieces.
I felt
You know,
like if you
take a
eat it
look
real
at
quick, you trick your body that you didn't
That's
really
right.
eat it.
That's absolutely right. Well, Commissioner, welcome back to the show. It's been one long year for anyone associated with education. Obviously, we know teachers, faculty, kids, parents. I mean, it's along with every single other thing in life. It's been a very heavy lift for folks in your position. So once again, thank you for everything that you and your staff have done for our kids. And maybe we thought a good way to kick things off tonight would be to get your 100,000 foot level assessment of where we are, and maybe what good has come out of this.
Well, before I start there, Ken, let me since you mentioned and brought up the Pope going over speaking with the kids at Carroll, we did an in-service for all our coaches every year, and we did it not last year because of COVID, but the year prior. And did you realize that the Pope is actually one of the very few that he is a very adamant soccer fan. Adamant to the point of, he watches it. He tries to attend. He actually has written in the Vatican some athletic policies that go along with the Catholic Church and the values and morals and views that are portrayed. So I think it's very interesting that Catholic came in and doing that and working through the bishop and working with the Pope. That again is just one of the most incredible feats that happen with the WCAC.
That's my Pope.
Few schools. Yeah, there's very few schools in the nation. I mean, think about that.
That's awesome.
That you're sitting online with a call with the Pope.
Cool.
What are the chances? And here's a school in our conference with 400 kids that are going there, and after everything to have that to come forward, that truly speaks volumes about what our conference stands for and our school stands for. We are not we are certainly very good athletically, but we certainly try to always remember to exemplify and show those values and what it means to be in a Catholic school, in a Catholic conference. Getting back to your question, I just thought I'd take a little side trip there because I thought that was very interesting. The league's been through some changes this year. As we all know, it's been a very, very difficult year for everybody. Bringing you up to date, we went through this, and I always try to take a few minutes and reflect at the end of every season, and it's getting to be that part of your life where you sit around and you look and you say, boy, with all the experience of 40 years has brought me, nothing prepared you for this. We are still at a stage right now where our stadiums aren't open. we are not being able to lease facilities for the fall. So all of this plays a part in what and how we move the league forward. Some of the positives that came out of it is the one of the biggest positives. If you talk with the coaches and you talk with the heads of schools, they will tell you that they really, really got to learn their kids this year because they brought them in. I mean, heck, football started in August, and then it got shut down. And then we moved and said, well, we're going to try to do something in October. So these kids bouncing back and forth finally got a chance to play, but they really got to know their coaches. They got to know their school. They got to know what sticking to something means, that persistence of moving forward and always being ready to run forward when we did finally get a league together. We had to make some tough choices, as we well know. We tried to stay out on our own just because we couldn't count on other private or public schools being in and operating in order for us to play. So we set up the schedules. We decided to break what we had left up in thirds. And we had two main goals the heads of schools, the athletic directors, and ourselves came up with. And number one was to keep things as safe as possible. How can we play by keeping everybody safe, from the officials, the fans, and of course the players themselves. And then the other piece was we had to do this throughout 7 jurisdictions. So it was very possible, and it did happen. We had parents that went and attended football games in Haymarket at Paul VI's new school, and Chantilly, I guess it is, the address. And then they'd go to Bishop Ireton the following week, and they couldn't enter the ballpark because of the jurisdictional differences. So we did have to deal with some of that, but again, we got to play. We have also found out that these kids have worked hard. We played 2 games a week, and we decided early on to give as much playing time as we could to the kids and not block things out for a championship. We felt that the love of playing the sport and giving kids an opportunity. If you were a junior spring ball player last year, whatever sport it was, and you missed all of last year, you played a little fall ball maybe, and now we felt that it was our job to give you as many games as you could play, and we did not want to block out a week or 10 days at the end of the year for schools to play in a tournament when somebody could get knocked out earlier and he could have played or she could have played 2 or 3 more games. So we that part of it was a positive. One of the big positives, again, was that our conference pulled together, and as a conference should, to see the generosity of our schools. I think Riken, St. Mary's Riken, Paul VI, Bishop O'Connell, and many more, they ended up hosting practices and hosting games because, again, D.C. wasn't open, but they still wanted to play. Parts of Maryland weren't open. They still wanted to play. So they opened up their hearts and their facilities, and their workers worked to make it happen for the kids in our league. So those are little things. It's more, I think more of the positive impact was on the players themselves and the relationships that were built between the schools and the players and the coaches and the fans. But I sit here proud that we got a WCAC game, and we got an opportunity for our athletes to showcase their talents so that they can get on some film and they can get those to the colleges, and hopefully they can continue their careers.
Well, I know that we it's easy for people to see 13 school names on a list and think that it's just that easy. Just tell these 13 schools what to do. It's not like we're all in one county. It's not like we're all in one district where it's only one county executive or even only one governor, state governor who has jurisdiction. And the last year has been messy, right? With people arguing about what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And
you're like, Ken, we just we finally ended up putting that into every school had to come up with their own plan of how they were going to run events, host events, so forth and so on, to make sure it was safe. And that was approved by myself and along with the heads of schools had to look at it. And just a short story, I guess we were out 2 or 3, I guess it's been a week or so ago, and we had an official show up to a ball game, and the official says, our athletic director walked up and said, "Hey, look, you got to wear a mask." And the official turned around and said, "Well, our governor says I don't have to, and our jurisdiction says I don't have to, and if I have to wear a mask, then I'm not going to officiate the game." Now we worked through it, and of course we ended up playing the ball game and everything. But it's those little things that people don't hear about that go on. And here you finally got some fans there. You got 2 teams ready to play. You got kids that want to play, and you got one guy that's going to say, "Well, just because it's a jurisdictional thing, I don't have to wear a mask." But our schools have, like I said, it's safety first, and we handled it well, and we got our seasons in. So that's a great thing.
Talk about
I think that was the eyeglass mustache mask, not the.
But I talked with a couple coaches, and they just talked about the paperwork alone. If you had to do something in Montgomery County or another county, all the paper you had to do, all the testing you had to do, and everything was different. It was just, I think a lot of people don't even understand that went on behind the scenes. Coaches stayed late. They had to stay even later because of all of the red tape that they had to go through.
Yeah, and our athletic trainers worked overtime.
Yes.
I mean, there were times we had schools. If you had a kid test positive, and you were practicing at a shared school, then that means all of those kids had to be tested again before they could go play. As things progressed, we got to a point where some of our schools were doing 24-hour testing, which was, to me, just phenomenal, that we could turn it around that quickly. But again, you're right. The little stuff that went on behind the scenes, people you just have no idea what it took some of those guys. And it's hats off to them because they all did it. They didn't do it because they were making any extra money. I guarantee you that. They did it because they wanted their kids out on the court or the field or something of that nature. So that was great for them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the trainers. They were phenomenal. Their jobs became twice as hard in an instant, and it looked like they all delivered. So you're right. Yeah. They deserve a shout out for sure.
I worked 2 or 3 years as an athletic trainer. It's been 35 years ago. And I know it was, I went back to school to get my first master's. It was, I'll be a trainer.
Were you Bear Bryant's trainer?
Bear Bryant, there you go. I wish. And I did it 3 years, and the guy I was working with, he did it for 35 years. And I said, "Lee," I said, "I got to back to coaching full time." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Trainers, all you say is no. Yeah. That's all people hear. You can be the nicest person in the world, but it's too hot to practice. It's too cold to practice. Oh, this kid's got a sore arm. He can't play today. He's got a sprained ankle that's not healed. Oh, everything is no that comes out of their mouths in a lot of the ways coaches and players look at it. But I take my hat off to them because they have the final say. And they're, they want, you said it right, T. They want to get our kids out on the field, and they do a good job of doing that. They did a great job.
Well, I think the real heroes, and we've talked about the coaches and the players and the trainers, but the real heroes left to mention are the parents, because you talk about trying to get kids to practices when you didn't know if and when they were going to have them. You didn't know where they were going to be. They were always changing location. They were always in a different group because you couldn't practice as a team. You had to practice in pods. It was before school. It was after school. Parents have other kids doing virtual school. Parents are trying to get back to work, managing the lack of daycare. It's amazing to me, and the three of us who grew up with parents who drove us all over the world to play sports, and we all had siblings, and somehow everyone got to where they were supposed to go. I just think in our conference, especially where there's like the public schools have buses, then they have a whole separate workout for that. Whereas for us, in our conference, it's a heavy lift by the parents, and I just think that for anyone out there who has a chance to make sure that they don't forget to say thank you to those parents.
Oh, for sure. I don't care how big your league is, or how great it is, or how powerful it is, or how great your athletes you have. They got to get to practice, and they got to do their homework. And and I keep touting this forever. We have never that I know of had a non-qualifier. So these kids are doing their work at home. Their parents are moving them around and trying to get things done. You're absolutely right. They did an outstanding job to be understanding, because they were in small pods. Like I said, they were practicing. One of our biggest, when we first started opening up, I guess it was, and we started playing basketball. That was one of our largest discussions in a group with the ADs and heads of schools and coaches was, okay, how do we get kids to games? All right, because you can't have them drive together, and games are, so you're going to tell your son to pack up in a car by himself because he can't have a friend with him now, and drive all the way across Maryland to get in. It just, to me, was just phenomenal.
That's not the Pope
Is the
calling,
bat
is
phone?
it?
That's the bat.
That's a bad phone. I know. Can you believe I still have an analog line?
You're the commish. How do you break up the bat line? Come on.
You're Bear Bryant's former trainer. Of course you have old school.
There you go.
That's the Hyattsville line. He'll get back to it.
Yeah, that's right. Steve, let's move forward. Let's talk about, because we had you on almost a year ago, roughly a year ago, when there was nothing, no plan that you could really offer with a straight face, because that's just the world we lived in. Where are we now? I know you mentioned we're still facing some obstacles getting ready for the fall, but what are some of the steps we're taking as we get out of this school year and start preparing for next year's school?
We are currently preparing to go forward full tilt. All of our teams are putting together full schedules, practices. All of that it looks like it's been working out. Of course, nobody knows what it's going to be like in November. Just as things get better, things are going to start opening more. Some of the colleges, most of the colleges are not at the point of opening their facilities yet for rentals. I will say that we did lock in some hockey dates over there, but like Catholic, American University, we've had conversations saying, yes, we'd love to have you back. We're counting on having you back. But as you well know, the district hasn't given their word to open things up there. But we're planning to go full tilt all the way. Everybody's playing a full schedule. This season is one that will be very interesting. It's going to be a great opportunity for us to try some new things out. Before the pandemic hit, we actually we have started looking at rearranging our schedules. And most of you that follow the league closely understand that we have two football conferences. We've looked at having two conferences in every sport, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, every sport that we play, but it would be done on location, because I don't know the last time you've gotten in a car and driven from Chantilly, Virginia, to Leonardtown and St. Mary's Riken, but that is a haul. And so what we, well, you probably pass every Lido's Pizza between here and there. You could stop and eat 2 or 3 times.
There you go.
But we are planning on doing it by location, where you would play everybody twice in your league, in your conference, and everybody outside once. They all be WCAC schools, and then we would take everybody to the tournament. So everybody would get. It's just getting the number of games, and we had to do that for a couple of reasons. Number one was the distance traveled, and our prime objective is to get kids to graduate high school. When you're leaving at 1 o'clock for a 5 o'clock game in Leonardtown, or down to Paul VI. So we did it for travel purposes. We also looked at what could we do to help some of our teams work their way around and see other competition other than their own. As it stands now, those of you guys that follow and have followed the WCAC, we'll just take basketball, for instance. We go into the WCAC tournament. Our teams and schools fight like they just fight to get through that tournament. And winning that is a big thing. And then a week later, they go to Alhambra. And Alhambra is turned into a work towards the WCAC repeat type tournament. The girls are playing at the Bishop tournament, and we just our kids want to play other schools that are good. This will open up 3 or 4 different slots in any one of their schedules, so that if you had a Gonzaga or St. John's or DeMatha that got invited to a tip-off tournament in the public school world to play the Virginia State champion or the Maryland or DC State champion team, they could do that. They could now fit that in their schedule. So this is another reason why we moved in that direction. So it's going to be an exciting year. It really is. Those little changes, I think, are going to make a big difference, and you're going to see even more of the WCAC kids on the news, in the news, on the newspaper, just making things happen.
Well, we saw it already during this time. Paul VI girls goes to the Geico. Was it the Geico championships? Came up short, but heck, went down there, made a great showing for the conference. DeMatha goes 11-0. They're highly ranked. They play on national television, as well as Paul VI did. The boys did. So, I mean, there's so much exposure even in this odd year. Yeah,
and I've told you when we were talking a little beforehand, I am still just cannot understand the depth and the breadth that this league this league has. Everybody knows the WCAC or the schools in it, or where they play, or how often they play, and everybody wants a ticket to come see us play.
As they should, and it's worth every penny. And if they can't make it, they know where to watch it on First Amendment Sports.
Yeah, I was going to say, good counsel over number 2 in the nation, St. Francis. That also occurred throughout this spring football season. So, we sustained our national prominence from start to finish of this whole thing, thanks to the commission, a bunch of other folks that we've been talking about.
That's right. And there's been other kind of highlights, newsworthy items over the last couple of weeks. Wanting to get your take, a very high-profile DeMatha basketball coach who's been, obviously a good friend of ours and has been leading the way over there in Hyattsville, and Mike Jones getting an opportunity to go to the next level. That's great for the conference, too.
Yeah. What a class individual. I really, every dealing I've ever had with Mike has always been just straightforward, and just anything that he's involved in has always been done the right way. And he's always kept an eye on the conference and the kids first, and then everything else will fall in behind it. That's a great move for him personally. That is certainly, he is going to be hard to replace at DeMatha. He's going to be a tough one, but they'll work through it and they'll come out, strong like they always do. The math will always be ready to play. We know that. Mike he's down there now. He's down at Tech. He is working. He will do a great job because part of that is he knows the athletes up here, which is going to be, you guys know as well as I do, it seems like as well as everybody goes to the WCAC, everybody has gone to Virginia Tech. There's so many alumni up here in this area.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Mike and everybody knows Virginia Tech, and that's just going to be a recruiting paradise, I think, for Virginia Tech. But he, I really, Ed King, the athletic director over there, and I were talking about this the other day. I really don't know that he will work more because when you run a program like the Matha, it's still, look, he could tell you every kid in the DMV that can play basketball from probably age 8 on up, and know everything about every kid in the school, on the team, in the other schools. I mean, it's just being able to put some things together. He always, DeMatha has always been a leader in, he takes the 2 weeks during the summer to run the NCAA tournament that they run here, the high school showcase that they run over at DeMatha, and he always puts that together. So he does a great job. He does great. He's going to be a tough one to replace. Well,
Steve, we don't want to let you go without also mentioning we do have another awesome development for the conference, and it was good. Another good thing that happened during the pandemic. We had the time to really put a little effort and some resources into revamping the WCAC Sports.com platform, and that is officially up and going. And we look forward to certainly populating it with the stuff that is happening now, because there's always going to be some good stuff happening around the league. But as we move forward, it'll be a great landing spot for folks who want to learn more about what's happening if they don't know what the WCAC is all about, but also be a resource for families in this area who are following their kids and all the teams, perhaps the schools they went to. In the WCAC.
Yeah, Ken, we really had those things going. You and I spoke about it years ago about this. We wanted our website to be a one-stop shop for everybody. When you went to that website, you could buy tickets for games. You can now watch games being streamed by First Amendment Sports. You can also get articles about the schools, not only the athletic piece, but what are they doing? What are the schools doing, and how are they giving back to the community? All of that's on there, and this should be a one place where everybody should go, and that is the goal. That, as you well know, Ken, we have spoken many times over what our vision is, and we see it as something moving forward where everybody around the world now can pick it up and be able to watch First Amendment Sports and watch a championship game no matter where you are, and right. That's important. I know that you also will be covering large games like you have always done in the past. That'll be broadcasted through there. We will use that site to post, of course, our regular schedules, our regular standings, our events, our matchups, our tournament schedules, all of that, and plus the articles from the schools. It's a great starting point if you're looking to put your student into an athletic environment. That also has a very strong education first, and the values, Christian and Catholic values and morals first, and then it's a good place to start looking at those schools to make those types of decisions.
Hey,
awesome.
If you're going to have the best conference in the country, you got to have the best website. You got to have the best media services. You got to have the best streaming. We're going to put it all together, man. That's great.
T, it's funny you say that, but I truly believe that having done this now 5 years, entering my 6th year, the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference is by far the best conference in the United States. I used to think maybe it was just this area, but it has the support that it gets from around the nation, the letters I get and emails I get from people around the nation, and most of them always start off with something about, oh, I went and saw St. John's play or DeMatha, and it always ends up saying, speaking about the individuals that they saw, the gestures that they saw, the shaking of hands, the hugs after games, the way they handled themselves, win, lose, or draw, all of those types of things always come up. And we truly, truly are the best conference in the United States. And it's because of people like you, First Amendment Sports, our alumni, our coaches, our athletes, all the way down. Of course, we mentioned the parents and the big part that they play, but it really, really drives our conference.
Couldn't have said it better. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, we definitely want to thank the commissioner of the WCAC for giving us his time on a Tuesday night. We look forward to having you back, Steve, soon. And more importantly, look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Oh, we're having our last meeting of the year is first. I would be very remiss if I didn't congratulate all the seniors that'll be graduating, all those athletes, as well as the students. But the student athletes, I know what it's like. All of us sitting in this room talking, I know what it's like to be an athlete and keep your grades up and go to college and practice and work out 40 hours a week on top of that. I commend you. I congratulate you. I know that the conference has given you a great education and a great solid background athletically and academically to move forward in whatever you want to do in life. And I guarantee you, they'll be pulling up WCACsports.com and checking out the WCAC when they're away from home. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you.
Thanks, Steve.
I wonder if he was in marketing. That was pretty good. I also hope he gets back to the Vatican on the Vatican line.
I was going to say.
Don't forget.
That was the Pope. The Pope was calling him back.
That's my commish. That's my Pope. That's our conference.
That is our conference. An awesome night with some good news. You know that we are moving forward. We are looking to be back to normal. I know there's some folks on the board talking about expansion, question mark. I don't know necessarily they're talking expansion. I think the first step is just to be playing more teams. I think that's step one before we start making the conference any bigger. But I like where your head's at, Brandon.
First Amendment High School University?
It's mostly a tennis school, as we all know. But there's
a lot of soccer.
A lot of tennis. The best academic team in the entire tri-state area, obviously.
Tons of pizza.
Lots of pizza. We want to say thank you to our guest tonight, Steve Colantuoni, the aforementioned commissioner of the WCAC. I want to say a special thank you to our good friends over at Lido who are not only helping us tell the story, they're also putting food in these bellies. Some tiny bellies, some...
I went full expansion on the belly last night through Lido.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of belly action. We are going to also say special thank you to Luke and our good friend Evan for making us look good, as they always do, our friends at MMD. We'll be back, and we'll let you know. Hit the subscribe button for First Amendment Sports, and when you do, click on the bell. You get a notification whenever we post a show, whenever we put something new up on the channel. We are coming back live in less than 15 minutes for Thank God It's Tuesday, the DC Sports Anchor Show of First Amendment Sports, and the official Washington NFL football team podcast of Hogs Haven. Appreciate your time this evening. We'll let you know when we're back. We'll be back with another great guest, another great story from the greatest high school conference in the land. He's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, that was great. Awesome to hear from the commission. His passion came bursting through that screen. I can't wait for the fall to come around.
He's Tim Strachan.
I agree. Last time we talked to him, it was a little dreary. It was a little up in the air. Mm-hmm. This seems so much more positive every day. We keep seeing signs of the fact that we're getting back to normal. I think in the fall, we'll be back to normal. And let's just keep taking it 1 week at a time.
1 week at a time.
Until next week.
That's right. Until next week, I am Ken Marangolo. This was the WCAC Spectacular.
Lido's.
Tell a friend.
My head's so big.